I'm hoping today we're really gonna learn how to make those penguins fly because of this blue exit that's off to the side and behind walls, behind water, which means the hopping we have learned so far is not going to be enough. We're gonna learn more. We can start with a little skid. We've got swaps, we've got rockets. I think it's the red guy that needs the rocket, but to achieve this, we've gotta go around like this. And he can pick it up, and obviously it counts as him to bounce instead of just fall off. But we'll need more steps, right? Because if we go towards here, the red guy only ends up here, that's not enough. We will need to, I think, bring the gray guy over to get him there. We can hop on like this. That lets him swap with the yellow guy, taking him to his exit. But right now, I don't think that's what we want just yet. If we set up here, we can push the gray guy into there. If we hop to here and get the yellow guy in the way, we can further extend our hopping. Then we swap the yellow and the red, and then when we swap them again, the gray guy gets pushed and he goes where he needs to go. We swap again, though we have to be careful here to not push the yellow out. So he can move out of the way, red goes here, then he comes here, he will get a push, red will hop over, and everyone's in their exits. And we can also go to bonk. It's a word I've been using a lot for this game, and it's a bonk because we've got some hammers. So I assume we need the two gray penguins aligned so that red can hop over them and get to his exit. Yellow needs the hammer, but we want to not get in a position where we get the gray penguins stuck in a corner or anything like that. So we can come here, push him. Then get him pushed up there, push him over the wall, make an alignment. Then red lines up, yellow lines up, they get launched, and everyone's happy. This seems like a very basic, here's how you do it sort of level. But we've bonked, and it was a success. So we can get out here, and we have Ripple. Here we've got two gray penguins, one gray exit. So one of them is just here for decoration. Like, we could launch this guy over there, and he will stand in front of the exit. We have a single walrus here, which means this is some sort of final move we probably will be doing. Don't want to use it up yet. I'm gonna assume this was not the correct move what I did, because I think once I've done that, it was kind of stuck in there. I can also drag this guy over the wall here to get him into a different position. If I launch him in that corner, I would be able to go in front of him and then launch him over myself. And yes, if that gray penguin was where I previously put one, then he would have been able to just hop over to his exit. So I think that's what we might be doing. So from here we can pull this guy down, so he's in line. Now we can throw him over, so he's ready. We throw this guy over, so he's ready. And now we're okay to go down this middle lane, pull him over, bounce, bounce, and he's out. That's Ripple. What else can we get into by ourselves? Not much. Well, we've got the magnet guy, which means if we help him out, we can get two of our penguins out at the same time, because he can just pull. And then we have more room for maneuver. We can go to bounce. We've got buttons. So when we press those buttons, the wall's gonna open, but we've learned something. Launched animals will travel an extra tile when bouncing. When they have the boing, the spring, when they are launched, they go further. Okay, that's how we clear the gaps. That's how we make the penguins fly. So in this case, when I hit him, he went up once to the block, then he grabs the spring, he skipped the button, and that's why he also just took a dunk into the water, which means picking up the spring is the way to fly. But that means We need the red penguin to pick up the spring. But that means the door is 1 out of phase. And we want to push the gray penguin so that he presses the button once before the red penguin hops over. So if we push him, not you. If we push the gray guy to press the button, then if we go to push the red guy over, it's so nice they even gave us a cane to make this easier. He will press the button once, close the door, hop over. Items flanked from block will not land on a connecting block. Okay, so this is just when they're flanked, they're gonna go much further than you potentially expect, either to after the next wall or a next block section, or just straight into the water. So yes, we have lost the cane that he was holding, but we didn't need it because right now he can just bounce and he's out. From here, straight to boost. We're boosting. We've got a rocket and we've got a penguin that needs to go to his exit. He cannot stop in his exit by himself. Someone will need to get him there. Either someone will provide a block at the top or someone will push him in there, because we have the rocket and we have nicely arranged walls to let the rocket walrus just hop over back and forth. So in this case, for example, he can push this gray penguin over there. And what else can we arrange then? Yes, theoretically, if we can move the gray penguin 1 more over, he also should be able to then block the red if he's coming from the top. I have an idea where it's like the yellow's over here and then the blue is to the right of him, and then when the yellow jumps with the rocket, he lands between them and then he can use the rocket to push the gray penguin. But I need to make it so that the blue can actually get to that position. For that, I think we do this, put him over there, jump over, he's here now. Now we jump over, and then when we jump this way, yes, the gray ends up under the red, he can go. And now the walruses just exit on their own. That's it, that's boost. I've definitely switched to thinking more in a how can we do it as a trick, right? I no longer think about how can we do it as simple sliding. I'm like, oh yes, they're giving us a rocket and a bunch of walls, so we're definitely doing some sort of rocket pushing trick rather than just simple sliding. But obviously they may switch it around, and after that we're gonna suffer. 4 walruses, 4 fish, a spring and a bomb. So with spring, obviously we could infinite loop, jump over, get a fish, but that makes him go all the way, right? Even if there wasn't a walrus in the way, because of the spring he bounces out of the level, so this is not something we want to do right now. With the bomb, we can use the direction of explosions to have the bomb walrus eat a fish and the other walrus get away. But we're gonna be 1 short in this case, right? I think it might need to be the yellow walrus, because if the yellow walrus is left by himself, he then picks up the spring and gets himself out of here without needing further assistance, and he can eat the final fish by himself as well. So if we queue them up like this, we can have the yellow walrus be eating all the fishes and still remain on the board, right? Because he doesn't bounce right now. But now he can exchange the bomb for a spring, bounce around, get the fish, bounce over further, and he's out. We've distributed. Actually, we didn't, because the yellow guy ate all the fish. No one else got any. That's not distribution, that's just greediness. From here, we can go straight to inside as well. So what do we have? Well, I mean, this red walrus is basically like, hey, bye. But it's never that simple. Blue will need help. Blue will need help, he needs to jump out of here. And we've got a bomb at our disposal. The yellow penguin has an exit, so he cannot be launched out of here. So we do some sort of bomb interaction where the blue gets launched, but the penguin will remain. So if we move him here, the penguin collects the spring and he's fine and blue is out. Now, how do we get back to his exit, right? Because he will not be able to turn this corner by himself. He can do some infinite bouncing to get over here. And actually, yes, I think that's what the red walrus is for, because if we bounce this way now, right, we bounce over him, and we actually do a proper jump over. If he wasn't there, we would have just landed. And now he gets out. And that's it. Inside is done. I think that was the easy levels to reach. Now we're getting into the tricky stuff. We've got our rocket, which means if we launch the blue guy, he can pick it up, hop over this wall, land on this level, catch. We've got a mallet. We've got a cane. That seems overly nice when they give us a cane and no storms. We've got a fish that needs to get eaten, which probably dictates that this walrus is going through this way, right? So he cannot get knocked over by the hammer in other places. So all we need to do is figure out how this red guy is going where he needs to be going. We have options for the walrus to stop the hammer from falling out, or if we do this, red is in his exit, but obviously yellow is stuck. We can knock red over the wall, but that just kind of brings us to where we were at the start, so that's not helpful. We can use the walrus and then knock over red further over the wall, if that's in some way helpful to us. But that means yellow can now go here, and red can go around, and yellow can go under him, and the walrus catches the fish, and he's out. If we rewind a little bit then, still give him the rocket, but now the magnet takes this penguin off, we get to reorder. And it is indeed a reorder because our penguins are in exits, but yes, the order needs to change. Actually, they need to swap. Yellow and gray need to trade places. We can throw them around, but we probably don't want gray to be in a teleporter exit because that's just recipe for trouble, right? He will just get kicked out of the level and then we can't win like that. We can potentially put him there and then bring him back, right? That's okay. I wonder if the correct way to use the teleporter is gonna not be to go at it from the top. Instead, it's gonna be achieved this way, where he gets thrown into this teleporter. So if he gets thrown in now, we can pull him over and he goes to his exit. Then we can throw the gray over, back up, and that's how the reorder works. We can throw him over and he goes into Clockwork. Teleporters. Interesting, because the gray penguin is already in his exit, and obviously if we move him, we can't move him again, and what's gonna happen is when people go in the teleporters, he gets thrown, right? And now he's stuck. Now he's stuck, we can't move him anymore, we don't have any tools. So that means anytime anyone goes into a teleporter, we need the gray penguin to go into a teleporter again, which is achievable, right? He's achievable doing this like that, because he will jump over this penguin, go into a teleporter. Then if we move the red penguin, yes, again, he will get thrown into a teleporter. So we just have to pay attention of which exit can we pick for the gray penguin to still be thrown the right way. Yes, there we go. That's Clockwork. It's satisfying when it works. We can move backwards like this. He can pull that guy out of the level. And toss is available to us. We're definitely gonna be tossing someone because we've got hammers. Now, because of the level setup, it's actually quite obvious that who needs the hammer is the red penguin, right? Because that's how he will exit. He'll just go bash through the single wall to his exit. But how does he get the hammer? Because he can't just go up there and get it, right? So I'm actually thinking we are launching him to go there and bounce over another animal. We may need some swapsies because we need to get the yellow penguin above him first. The walrus is actually quite hard to move right now because he cannot move himself, he cannot be pulled out really. We can get in there like this. That way we can pull the walrus out so he's actually able to travel. Though he can't come down from there himself because he will also get stuck. We can pull him with the magnet here. That will now allow the two penguins to queue up. The walrus is here as a bounce cushion. We jump over, get the mallet. Again, pull the walrus out again because he needs help. He mallets over, he's already in his exit, and he just hops out. So we've tossed some animals about. What's next? What's next? If we do some jumps with the rocket, right? Because as long as there is a block or a wall, we're fine to be doing this. We can back up from here and then he can hop over this wall into trapeze. We're doing circus tricks now. So what's going on here? We've got two magnets, but the gray guy obviously is gray, so we can pull him out and he can pull someone else out. But that's about it. It's interesting because we need to hammer the red guy, but that gets them both over, right? Because the hammer knocks him out, he gets pushed, and then the magnet pulls the hammer, and they actually kind of both launch at the same time, but end up then landing differently. So one lands and then one bounces over the lands further. And there's also a fish. So what we just did, but over here, right? We do this, we get to eat the fish. But then we can return, because obviously we don't want the gray penguin there. So what's our options beyond that? Well, we can get the red to his exit, and then he can just toss the yellow penguin back, right? Because there's a difference between hitting the magnet with a hammer and having them both be affected by the different results, and just pulling with the magnet and having him go over by himself. But then is the question of how do we not have this happen here, right? How do we just send the yellow guy over? I mean, potentially we do more with the gray penguin. I think this is the correct opening, right? This is the correct eat the fish, then come back. But then if we're not next to a wall with the gray penguin, when we hit him now, yes, the gray penguin doesn't get launched, but the yellow does, because the magnet pulls him and then there's no room for him to go because the gray stopped, so he gets launched. But we need to send the red penguin where he needs to be. So send him, send ourselves back, then hit him here, and the trapeze is done. Now what we want now is potentially using the spring. So obviously now we're next to a level, but the gray penguin's here disturbing us. So we can get him out. Oh, but we've launched the rocket and then we launch on the spring and then we've swapped twice, right? Because we swap to the spring here. The rocket goes, so we land on the rocket and we get the spring over there. But we can do this again, get the spring again. We can jump into this slot at the bottom still. And then the magnet penguin can help him come over, and then we push into E. So in E, we've got two fishes. One fish is an extra slot away, so someone will have to do the extra penguins. And by someone, I mean this yellow guy there, because he's the only one. Other than that, we need red in his exit, which means he's gonna be probably some sort of swap like this, right? Someone's gonna stand there and he swaps into it. We've gotta be careful, because obviously no walls means lots of falling out. With the swap, we can get the yellow penguin here and here, right? We can't get him down here because that will just swap him again. So he can be here. Does it help? Well, he can hop over between those walls, right? Because he can bounce and get here and here. Which means if we were to do this, he will bounce, he gets the second fish, then the walrus gets the first fish. But before we get to that, the red guy also has to be aligned to his exit. So we should be able to swap with him, but then we're stuck here. So from this position where he's in the middle, If we move red guy down, he can still go here. And then do a swap, right? Because then the walrus is where we want him. And then we can jump over the walls, bounce over to the other fish. This walrus is that fish, and the red penguin is where he needs to be. So almost just needed a couple extra steps, and we're done. There's a few more levels around the edges. I'm gonna try to reach them. But yes, I think for getting out of here, we're gonna need to get back to that situation where we did have a gray penguin on that level E we just completed, because then the spring would bounce off to the exit. But let's see about getting to those top things. I wonder if there's a combination where we have more use of the rocket. Because we can do this, right? Where we get the spring and the rocket and the spring is available. So what options do we have if you have a rocket and a spring? So we can get the rocket guy here. The spring guy can jump over and then bounce to Boomerang. Gray needs to exit over there, and there is a teleporter, but the teleporter just goes next to it. And obviously if we're moving, we're just off the level. It's not happening, which means likely what's happening is the gray is getting hammered while, yes, this red blue is standing over here, bounces over into his exit. So we have this other teleporter where we can end up here, right? Which means we avoid being immediately teleported to the other side next to the gray exit. I think before the red becomes the bounce pad for the gray, he's gonna be here helping to navigate yellow around to where he needs to be. So in order to get gray even into position, right, to hit him, we need to be looking at getting him positioned up here without getting him stuck in random corners, right? Because he cannot get stuck at the corner where the red is, because we won't be able to push him up. And the thing is, if we push him up now, we're not able to hit him with the hammer because the blue teleporter is in the way, right? If we try to come at him now, not. So to me, that would imply that potentially the gray needs to come out and be standing on the blue teleporter, right? Because then the yellow can hit him from that top corner here. For that to be achievable, we need to stick gray into the red teleporter without him then continuing to slide, right? So the red will have to block the path. So we can align him for that. We can hit him to the bottom here. But then the question is, how do we get him to stop, right? Because the red penguin can get him to stop, but yes, how do I then get the yellow and red penguin where they need to be? Because if red penguin over there waiting, he's not helping yellow to stop. And actually now they're kind of been put on very separate path, right? The red cannot now reach the yellow, and the yellow cannot reach the red. If the red stands here and I hit the gray, I can then hit him down, but now the red and the yellow are able to cross paths, right? If we hammer like this, he can go up, he can go down. Now we hit gray, he stops. Red can come out, be here. We hit him over the wall. Wait, no. Is there gonna be... When I hit the gray penguin, am I going into the teleporter? Yes. So red stands here to make him launch, hit the yellow after he teleported. And then he goes. So I was actually completely wrong about the last step, because I was like, yeah, the red penguin's gonna stand over there, and that's how it's gonna work. No, we're gonna teleport into his path is the answer. But well, at least knowing that there was a bounce over someone who's standing there, that helped me get to it somewhat. Okay, there's more levels onto the side, but not with the spring, right? I can't go there. What else can I do? I think for the one above the green, I want a magnet and a spring, because if the magnet pulls the spring, then we get a big bounce. The thing with magnet and spring is that once the magnet is here, how does he get out, right? Because he needs his other penguin friend to come help. But if he jumps here, he sort of becomes stuck in this area. So that's something I still need to solve for. Unless this still involves somehow get the intermediate path through the rockets. Because then I've got a magnet and a spring, but the magnet is not trapped here and the spring can come out by themselves. We can get the magnet in place with the spring, right? But then where does the spring need to travel? Because by himself he can't get himself into any sort of bouncing opportunities. Here he can bounce like this. And then he can bounce this way. And then he's behind the magnet. He jumps over, and we're into hurdle. So what is this hurdle? The hurdle is we've got the yellow penguin that's gonna need to hop over there. I don't think he's getting the magnet this way then. I mean, there is of course red walrus with a hammer, right? So we can bring him over and have him do some hitting about. But it's gonna get a bit tight in here with everyone gathering. And obviously his movement is limited because we also cannot get that gray penguin kicked out of the level. Potentially, we don't want this guy to hop in early because we can move to here. So then when we pick up the magnet, he's not gonna be pulled in right away, right? We can, for example, tow the gray penguin here because I think what's that gonna do is we can get him in there. Well, it's not gonna do anything right now for us, but I think eventually we want someone to be standing over there in order for the yellow penguin to be able to hop over a tile and therefore land in his exit. So we can get the red guy in there at the back. He can hit the gray penguin, I guess, because that's what we have. And then the yellow penguin is able to stand here behind the magnet and do that bounce I mentioned, right? Because now he could exit. We have an opportunity here to put the gray where he needs to be. It's just how do we now exit? Because he could exit, but then red is gonna be stuck. But instead we can hammer, but not like that. Hammer here, so it's both hammer out and magnet pull. So mutually assured distraction of the walruses. But everyone's happy, yeah? They all want this. They are all participating because they want to. If we could get a spring penguin here on boost and another penguin just to the left on Clockwork, then the spring penguin on the boost could bounce with the spring, hop over whoever's on the Clockwork, and then get to that level on that side. I guess that's something I can because obviously it makes sense in my head when I say it like that, but that's still work to get them, right? What's the configuration? Because I think only a rocket penguin would be able to hop over there to Clockwork. So who gets the rocket, who gets the spring? I think we have to start with the blue getting the rocket, that's the only way. But then we've already learned that he's able to come here and get the spring out so that he could get it, right? So then he can definitely go to there because obviously we did that already. But can he get over there by himself? We can't get the spring guy in here. So when the rocket guy jumps over there, he's under that level, and then we can bounce in here. But then he has to take a little trip around in order to get to where he needs to go. But then, yes, then we can do what I said we wanted to do. Hop over, bounce over. Lots of head squishing in this one, right? It's just like springing over everyone's head. And we can juggle. How do we juggle? Where are we gonna juggle this red penguin right into his exit? But to achieve that, we have to get the spring. Get the spring. We have to get the mallet in order to mallet him up there. There's a bunch of stuff. But there's also a gray penguin here. That's why. So the way the gray penguin is positioned, when we come out the teleporter and launch him, he launches himself to the teleporter, and then whoever went in gets launched. But the way that occurred, right, let me just do it. At the end, this red penguin ends up landing in here, which means if someone was standing there, he would just be able to exit. Now, of course, we have this extra blue walrus, but I don't think that works because then he's stuck there, he can't exit, and he has to exit the level, right? So potentially what changes is that the blue walrus gets the mallet, but not from here because that's deadly to the other penguin. So he has to get it from here. Then we have to swap them about a bunch so that the yellow penguin goes in there, right? Because he doesn't need to go anywhere else. Then we push him in, and then he gets a bounce, and he's in his exit. How does the walrus get out though? Because I was like, well, he can't get stuck because then he can't get out, but what else? I guess, if we do this, right, the same things happens. The gray penguin is set up to return, and then he launches, and we've juggled. Still no idea about the 2 remaining levels, especially the one at the top. The one at the bottom at least feels like someone needs to stand on that tile directly to the right of it, and then someone hops over them, but that feels like, yes, there would maybe be some gray penguins involved. So basically one penguin would be here, then we would have a penguin with a spring here, but blocked with a gray penguin in front of him, so then when he does the spring no, because that doesn't work. That's a lie. I'm telling a big lie. Because if he launched from here for a gray penguin, he would just hop over the wall and die. So he would have to be bouncing after the platform. Then he bounces off the platform. Then someone needs to stand on this tile where the green penguin is, so that would be the gray penguin or whatever. I guess gray penguin, and then another penguin's here, and that's how we do that? Let me see if I can arrange that. Because I'm like, in my head, this makes sense, but I don't know what am I missing, right? Because that would be this, I think. Then we drag him there, so he's able to launch to spring. But with that in place, green is stuck here, right? We need to get him out somehow to be in the corner. Because, yeah, the blue can get out here, right? Bounce, bounce, and then, yes, if someone's there, there's gonna be another bounce. It's just, who goes there? This guy, of course. We can get him out like this. And then he can travel around again. And then he will be able to do this. Yeah? Triple bounce? 2, 3. Islands! Well. Like, it's the interesting feeling of like when getting to a level is a challenge and you're like, yeah, I did it, I got to a level, and then it's like, oh yeah, I have to solve this as well. That was just open. Now we have to actually do the challenge. So what happens here? Well, it feels like the green walrus is needed on the other side of the level, right over there, over the green gate. Eat that fish, right? That's his fish. At least the level is telling me that, right? Like the green gate there seems to be doing this for me. The yellow penguin, he's actually easy. He's like, yeah, just there. I don't see what the problem is. He's also needed on the other side. So go all the way across here and then further to the left in order to eat that other fish, because once again, red has his own exit. Now, I think we're gonna be doing, some teleporter launching like this, because then we're able to make people hop, but obviously depending on which side we're coming from, they're getting launched differently. So what we know is that when the green walrus is there, we want someone to come up from the bottom. When the blue walrus is there, we want someone to come up from the top. The problematic thing I'm finding is that when the red penguin is there, we want someone to come from the left. Because by now it's no one, like the yellow penguin obviously can't come from the left, he comes from the right. That's broken. And we've removed all other opportunities. If we get them aligned like this, we can throw him in here. And then if we go from the top, the yellow penguin will join them here. But what then? So obviously then they can just keep swapping like this, but that's not super helpful. This way we can bounce him, so we're just back to having red and green in here, although they are now swapped in order, which is something I was trying to achieve. Because that means if he goes in, we can align the green walrus here, right? So when the red penguin goes in, the green walrus can go, and that puts the red penguin in his exit. This is possibly what we want to do first, because that seemed the most tricky. Like the rest of the movement seemed to come together better. Hit him from this side, then yellow penguin goes in. Then we're able to bounce the yellow penguin across. So then he's able to go from the bottom, but we still need to swap those two walruses out. So when he goes from the bottom, the green gets launched over there. Now we're in place, right? Because now he can go here, he can go here, yellow can go here. I probably did way more swapping than I needed to do, but we got there in the end. Islands are complete. So there's only one level remaining in this level selection, but I don't know, I don't have any good ideas. Like the other ones, I was like, I can kind of see where this may be coming from. This one, I'm absolutely not sure, but I should be able to finish the level selection, right? The Crowdsurf. For that, I want to drag this gray penguin down. So we can get him down here. Rocket, I think, is fine. Because then we can drag blue into the spring. When he bounces, he finishes. Oh, but that's not it. That's not it. I've gone too fast. Because we still need a gray penguin in an exit, which means it's going to be that other gray penguin we have. But to achieve that, we need to magnet him out for sure. But I guess before we do so, we get the blue penguin here to create some bouncing space, and then he's out, and then we can go repeat what I just did before, because I think that's all we need, right? So bounce him out and get him to that exit. And that's Crowdsurf complete. We have done this. Now, there wasn't a rainbow, right? So we're not taking anyone out. I'm not sure if we needed to. But it feels like this rocket now means someone can go around the outer edge of the level and turn around to the level above the impossible. Potentially impossible is like the last thing you do of all the levels. The way we could, because we could launch someone here because there's a red gate if we have the right tool. Because from here, I can export a magnet, which would be perfect, right? Perfect to chuck someone over. But it needs to be someone who can actually come over. So I may need to have to restart in order to get someone out of transition. Because like there are steps to this, right? We need the spring penguin. He hits here. We export someone with a cane, right? Anyone with a cane, good enough. Just not someone red, because that makes a mess. Then they can help the red penguin get there and become a red penguin with a cane. And then we're just literally just taking a walk wherever we want. Here he comes over, gets a magnet instead. Gets into there. Now he just strolls over and we chuck him, right? He gets the rocket. And off he goes on a little hopping adventure. Hop, hop, hop. And we get from the top to replication. Here I thought we were gonna have to solve the impossible level first, but no, we have learned. We've got big brains now. We know how to use the rockets. And here we've got a new tool, this double arrow. There's also a mask that we can just pick up, so actually we're gonna make some use out of the stealing mechanic beyond just annoying gray penguins stealing from us. But also for the level selection, we have 2 blue penguins, right? We're gonna be dealing with this whole, they're moving in unison because, for example, here, this penguin with the magnet, he cannot move because that other one is locked in contraband, right? So we can't even pick up this arrow right now. We can't even know what it is yet. And contraband is a whole nother level selection. So it seems we're still gonna have to work for it before we get our one final tool in this game and are able to complete our knowledge, hopefully. And so we'll get into it next time. Let me know in the comments what you think about all of this hopping, swapping, how much deeper can this game go? And if you enjoyed that one, consider liking or subscribing. Thank you to channel members for supporting the channel, and I will see you soon on another adventure.